I hope you guys can hear me. It's Friday night, and I think folks are pretty much shut in their homes, and so we're trying an experiment tonight. And we are partnering with Tim Herron and the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists to do a portrait drawing session here on Friday night. It's March 2020, so those who are watching this in years to come, you can look back and say, what was going on? And what's going on is that pretty much restaurants, bars, public places have closed down. A lot of our employers have shut down, and we are waiting for this coronavirus, COVID-19, to kind of clear out before we go back to work. I am not the model tonight, but I'm just talking here because we're letting people sign on. My watch says it's 7:26. We're going to call Tim at about 7:30, and we're going to get Beth, and she's going to model for us, and we're going to get her positioned. And we'll talk about that as people are signing on. If you would, feel free to share this to your friends. I would imagine your creative friends, or maybe just your curious friends, might look at it and be interested in what's going on. We're going to adjust lights here if necessary. I know that Beth is sharing out to Miller Art Exchange, Tuesday at 7.
My
and
page.
Your page.
And Tim is tagged on
And
it.
Tim is tagged on that. So hopefully you folks that are regulars for the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists, I don't know, is there a shortened, we'll have to ask Tim if there's a shortened, or maybe folks can join in and place some comments, a shortened acronym or nickname for that group, because they're certainly not pretentious. And as I interviewed Tim a few weeks ago, man, what a wealth of knowledge, and what a kind of creative philanthropist. I'm getting all wordy here.
Yeah, big words.
We're coming up here to 7:30. We're just giving people the chance to sign on. Tonight we're going to do portrait drawing. I'm not the model. Beth is the model, and she's sitting in the chair in front of me right now. We're going to switch, and at 7:30 in a few minutes we're going to call Tim, and we're going to get the model Beth positioned. She's going to sit for, as far as I know, 4 30-minute sessions. So 2 hours of drawing. We're going to take a break between there so you guys can grab Cheetos, refresh your beverages. We're not putting any music on here, because if we did so, and we load this up to YouTube as well, then we get dinged for not having rights. So we trust that you guys are playing music in your background, and we're going to ask you what you're playing. Tim, are you playing the Ramones or something unusual over there? And other artists, I imagine you've got some good stuff going on as well. I think if I were drawing, I would probably, and if I were choosing my own music, Beth, what would I choose?
Dead Can
Yes,
Dance.
Dead Can Dance. And we're going to see them in concert if it doesn't get canceled.
Maybe
in April. Oh, I mean, we got tickets.
we have tickets, but April isn't looking good.
It's not looking good for us, and they're kind of on our bucket list of things to watch, because they're not getting younger either. If we have to, this is completely informal tonight. There's no editing. We encourage you guys to comment. By the way, you can shut off your comments too. If you just want to listen, I'm going to click in and draw, you can shut off the comments. There's going to be times that we're just going to be silent, because I'm going to do some drawing here as well. And during that time, it's going to be quiet. There's going to be other times that we're going to be asking questions. We'll be going through the comments verbally as well. And so we're going to ask the veteran artists for some pointers, some things they may have learned through the years. And I'll throw a few things that I learned, either heard from other artists or maybe even heard from
and
my art
share
training.
what media and tools people are using. Are you using charcoal? Are you painting with watercolor? All sorts of stuff. Yeah,
and folks are signing on. So Beth, do you have that number? Because back in that sticky note right behind you on the laptop is Tim's number, because we're getting ready. We're gonna try to be timely here. See that phone number there? If you could call Tim, and then you and I are gonna switch. We're gonna position you, and we're gonna start the session. We hope that you guys will find this innovative. It's started
21 people on.
20 people on already. Share it out. We're going to be drawing for a few hours. We're going to have some fun discussion as well. All right, we're calling Tim here. All right, Beth, I'm going to have you sit down. All right, are you seeing it live there, Tim? Okay.
Hang on.
Yeah, not a problem. We got 27 people on live right now, and the numbers still kind of are kicking up. Thank you guys for joining. I'm gonna monitor the laptop and type in some things. And ooh, Dead Can Dance, perfect.
Oh, nice.
I'm taking a look at some comments here. Again, we're not listing anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We can move the camera back.
Yeah. So, folks that were getting ready, hunker down, grab your Cheetos, your adult beverage of choice, your green tea, whatever you are choosing to imbibe upon here on a Friday night. I have Tim on the phone. He's pulling it up so we can get Beth positioned. As you know, Tuesday at 7. Oh, for those folks who aren't part of the Tuesday at 7 Facebook group, we invite you to join. We approve everybody.
Yeah.
It is a social experiment.
Do you want me to talk while you talk to him?
You want to talk? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, is he needing your feedback?
Yeah, go to Tim Herron.
Okay.
Yep. We have Tim that's signing on too. Thank you guys for your patience.
Yes.
As we're following Tim's direction as the a founding member or the founder.
The Cleveland Pretentious Portrait Artists.
The Pretentious Cleveland Portrait Artists.
I always forget whether Cleveland comes first or pretentiousness comes first.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys have clicked in from the Tuesday at 7 Facebook group or my profile or Best profile. We've also shared that out.
We shared to the Miller Art Exchange.
All right. Tim says you want to get closer. Beth, he's focus on my hand for a minute. Is this about the right turn, Tim? And I could back up because I think I'm cutting off the top of her head. Is that a little higher, a little closer? Okay, hang on with me.
While they're doing that, please feel free to join the Tuesday at 7 Facebook Live group. It's all about the opportunity to meet new artists, to interview, and to create more opportunity to get to know each other in the artistic community in Northeast Ohio.
Look, so not far. Tim, if there? Right. What? Yeah. So you're, if you would focus. Perfect. So we have what I'm going to do is I'm just going to center her here, but that Beth, you can kind of focus right where you're at. Tim, I think we got. Okay, I will set timer for a half hour. Artists, draw or sketch or sculpt, and yeah. Okay, Tim, we're gonna sign off. If we need to, call me back at this number, and we'll get your live opinion, and we'll take a look at these comments, and we'll start now. And 30 minutes from now, we'll take a break. All right. Thanks, guys.
You can use my phone for the timer.
Yeah. I'll set the. So, folks, Beth, 30 minutes. I'm going to set the timer. So folks that have the sound up here, you certainly can turn off the sound and listen to your own music if my voice is distracting. You can also turn off the comments if your comments are distracting as well. And then there's a share button in the bottom right hand of your screen, most likely, that you can share it out to your friends or to groups. We're going to sit quiet for about 10 or 15 minutes. Then we're going to get a couple pieces of advice from some veteran artists. And so for right now, we're going to sit quiet. We're anxious for you to work on your portrait. For the folks that are signing on now, I see we've got 33 live. We've got folks that are signing on right now. Beth is in the first, we just began the first 30-minute sitting. You could turn off your comments if that is distracting, and it probably would be. You can also turn off any type of sound if my voice is distracting as well. What we're gonna do is about 10-15 minutes in, we're gonna probably get a few pieces of advice from veteran artists. We're going to ask Tim for some advice, and for those who have been in the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists for quite some years, we're going to ask you some advice as well. And we'll be interested in that time of asking you, like, what are you listening to? What does your environment look like? Perhaps, what are you pouring this evening? Ron Rock, Teresa Rose. These folks are into this live portrait session right now. Enjoy. I'll start talking again in about 10 minutes. That's our dog Bowie. For those who are listening in. Yes, his name is inspired by the fabulous David Bowie. I did say that I wasn't going to talk for 10 minutes, and I guess I lied just a bit because I see there's a bunch of folks that are signing in. Those folks that are signing in now, this is a Facebook Live portrait session. We've teamed up with Tim Herron and the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists for a live sitting since we can't be together at this time. And we're hoping that you're inspired to go ahead and do some drawing, whatever your medium of choice. I think a lot of the Pretentious portrait artists are using pastels and using pencils and paints and some other things. I think several of those artists spend 2 hours on a single piece of artwork. And so if nothing else, this will be an interesting view for you. It probably feels very 60s art of having somebody sit for such a long time. In just a bit, we're gonna maybe ask for a few comments from some more veteran artists, a couple pointers, maybe where to start and some things like that. Maybe I'll give as a matter of fact, I'm going to give a pointer right now, and that is, early on I was told by my art instructors, both at Independence High School and here in Cleveland, as well as Kent State University, that you should kind of ditch the eraser and draw your lines. If you want to clean up your artwork at the end, maybe use an eraser then, but if you take a look at a lot of the classic artists and a lot of maybe the trained artists, they go in and they don't erase and redraw that wrong line back in. They just keep the other lines in. So anyways, there's my first bit of advice. You guys can probably hear right now I'm drawing on gray paper with an ebony pencil. I am still looking at my phone. Jane Clay Teasley Hammond says the eraser is a shading tool for her. That's a great thing. Absolutely. And Jane, if you would, do you have a special eraser that you like to use? A kneaded eraser or anything else? Love to hear your comment. We have people that are signing in now. For those that are joining us, we're in the middle of the very first sitting. This is a live portraiture, or a digital live portraiture. Beth is going to be sitting for 4 30-minute sessions. The Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists were kind enough to team with the Tues 8-7 group for this sitting. I know that many of them are working at their stations. Since we're all holed up in our house, we figured let's get some of this art done nonetheless. And thank you for joining us. If you're newer, we would encourage you to maybe grab a pencil or a pen or something and give it a try. Jane commented she uses a 20-year-old pink pearl eraser, and she uses an X-Acto blade to shave the slivers off for fine details. That's great. Have another, Susan says she does a light pencil layout and use the eraser a kneaded eraser for that. And then once she starts, she uses watercolor or ink. Thank you for comments, artists. Keep them coming. Not only will they be great for this live session, but folks are going to be watching this over the next several days to give people the chance to get back to the sitting and finish out work or correct some things if they'd like to as well. I hope folks are able to see this in a reasonable size. Right now I'm just kind of looking at my phone. Even though Beth is sitting in front of me, I'm kind of going back and forth. Perhaps you're looking at a laptop or casting it to a television or watching on a smart television. All right, we've got maybe another 15 minutes. Let me take a look. Yeah, we've got about another 15 minutes in this sitting. I've put my pencil down. I'm going to take a look at some of these. Oops, sorry guys. got a number of shares here. We got some great advice here as well. You guys may be hearing Bowie, our toy poodle. He's an old dog. I'm going to keep quiet here. What we'll do is after Beth takes a break here, we'll have maybe a 15 minute break, and then we'll get into some comments and ask for some advice and do a little bit of socializing at that point. I'm going to continue to try to draw here. Coming down the last 3 minutes of this first sitting. Time to take a break after that. I'll let you know. All right, Beth, before you get up, do you have a pointer here that you're looking at?
Yep.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to stay where you're at. I'm going to mark your feet. All right, folks, that's the end of the first session. We're going to put a couple markers here for Beth to get back in that position, and we'll call Tim one more time and get ready to sit. So,
It's like 10 minutes. Doesn't have to be longer than that, does it?
yeah. All right. All right, Beth, you want to get up and
Yes, please.
get out of there?
We could probably play some classical music or something. That's public domain.
Yeah, probably could. So, thank you guys. First sitting. We're going to have 3 more 30-minute sittings for those that are working on a single piece. You're probably, if you're seeing Beth stretching, because her shadows are stretching in that back wall a little bit. And looks like people are getting on. Tim said, Beth, great job of posing. So far, it's working well. And so this is an experiment here. For those folks that don't know, the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists have been doing this for 14 years live, and very rarely have they missed. I think Tim said missed like 4 or 5 times, and I think technically we're not missing tonight either. And so we decided to kind of team up together to try to do this digitally, see if it would work. We've got somewhere around that 25, 28, 30, 33 people. We see Grace, Jess is like, woohoo! Grace has said, great job, Beth, really still as well. And so I've not been a sitter, but I understand that that's not an easy job to sit still for such a long time. And those are great things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, you think this is working all right? So we're going to ask people, hey, what are you listening to? We're going to ask that question here since folks are getting a break. Fill up on your beverage. Make a run to the facilities if you need. Yeah, maybe grab some munchies, some popcorn. Oh, yeah. For those folks, actually, I'll come around front so you just won't hear my voice. So Tuesday at 7. Tuesday at 7 is just a creative group. We've got folks primarily in the state of Ohio, but we have folks that sign in from all over the country, all over the world. Every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we do an interview or a demo. And the way that we connected and decided to give this a run was a few weeks ago, we went out and did a demo for, or did an interview out at Tim's Manly Pad. And we talked about what was going on there. And I think Beth just got, is that a call from Tim? I think she's talking to Tim here as well. So, and as she's doing that, we're getting live feedback from Tim, the originator. Hey, Tim, does he have anything to say to the group?
Great. I'm glad. We'll keep... Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll lower the camera a little bit because he says there's just a little bit too much space.
Okay.
She's a friend of ours. She's an artist. So, yep.
Gotcha. So Tuesday at 7 is a Facebook group, and it's also a group of Ohio artists. This past Tuesday, actually, and this is probably something I should mention. This past Tuesday, we did an interview with and we've done a lot of interviews, but this past Tuesday, we did an interview with Al Tuskus, and he is a special effects guy, works on a lot of big films. He's an Emmy Award winner. And so if you go to the Tuesday at 7 or go to the Roger Miller and just kind of scroll up, or just go to your search bar on Tuesday at 7, or your search bar on Facebook and search Tuesday at 7, you'll get to that interview as well. But we went in depth to the time that Al was first doing some stop motion animation when he was a kid, through his teen years up to working on big budget movies. Some of his favorites that he worked, or my favorites that he worked on, is from Dusk Till Dawn. He worked on the Dune series. I think that's where the Emmy Award came from. He's worked on hundreds, perhaps thousands of movies. He also worked on Passion of the Christ, which, that's probably relevant at this time. And you have a comment?
When you're done talking about that, talk about sharing the photos and then also the information to email them.
Oh yeah, can you bring that here so I can read that as well?
Yeah.
So part of the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists, part of what they do over the years is that they put on their website, and I think on Tim's Facebook page as well, is they go ahead and show the art from that evening, the portrait art from that evening. And so we're asking you to either instant message it to Tim if you happen to be connected to Tim, and if you're not, if you could...
You can email him, but I have to find the email address.
And Beth is looking for the email address there. It may be on the laptop. Did I write it down there?
No.
No. So Beth is looking that up here, and then in a few minutes we'll get ready for the second session. Anyways, we're asking you to post a copy of that artwork so that Tim can put it up on the webpage as well. What we are encouraging folks to do is, do you have it?
No, but Nancy Lick shared a photo of where she's all set up to do her screen and everything, and she's casting up to her television and her laptop, and it looks terrific.
So thank you for sharing that. Hey Tim, if you could post in the comment section your email address.
Yeah. So people can post them straight to any of the posts for the Tuesday at 7. but if you could private message or Facebook message or email Tim, and he'll put his email address on there.
It's in the announcement too, or the promo. It's up there, but we'll put it here in the comment section as well. I hope folks are doing well as we're hunkered down here in March. I know that this is the first time that probably any of us have ever had to deal with anything like this, but we're trying to make the most of it, and this portrait drawing is part of that.
Sorry, he said there was too much space.
So we're going to do some adjustment here. Hopefully we're not, and again, this is me sitting, not Beth sitting. We're going to get her back in that position to give you guys the opportunity we're going to reset her. At that point, maybe we'll get Tim back on the phone just to make sure that we have that.
Yep.
Because I'm not doing it. I'm all over the place because I'm looking at screens and I'm looking at you live and such.
That's true.
I haven't been keeping a track of the time. 2 minutes-ish, and we'll sit Beth back down and we'll go to the second half-hour session. So, and that's a great idea. If you could post a photo of how you're drawing, right? And where from where you're watching. If you want to give a cheater of your artwork, I don't know if that's bad luck. We'd love to see where you're at. And if there are any comments, because we're kind of in the first session, so the artists have been doing this for a long time, give us a pointer. If you're a veteran, give us a pointer at kind of where you're starting. Are you starting with light lines? Are you starting with pencil? Are you just going in? Are you using eraser? How are you approaching this challenge? And how do you typically do that? And we're going to have Beth sit back down here another minute or so, and we'll set the timer. We'll get her set and set the timer. I was actually going to join live tonight, but since that wasn't happening due to the coronavirus, we decided to join digitally here. And thanks, Tim, for directing us this evening. This is brand new to us. This is what he's been doing and what the group has been doing for 14 years. So you guys are the veterans, we're the newbies. All right. Guys, grab your last minute break items. I know you guys can officially get up and break anyway, but Beth and I are sitting down. She's shrugging her shoulders. Thank you guys for sharing this as well. The good part about this too is if there's something you need to go back to, or you want to try your hand at another portrait at another time, this is going to be recorded for you to get back to it as well.
That's true.
All right, Beth, I'm going to have you sit down.
Let me take a sip.
Yeah, let Beth take a sip. I'm going to call Tim back up. I'm going to have you know how to sign your phone on your phone. Can you dial him up?
Yep. There you go. Hello, everybody. We appreciate you joining us. Or joining Roger. I'm really just sitting here.
All right, we're gonna try to get Beth back in the position she was. Hey, Tim.
Check about the space above my head.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so are you able to see it now? Oh, perfect. The Tim says, yeah, we've got a lot of people on there as you guys, as Beth is kind of getting ready to sit for the next 30 minutes. We're talking to Tim. He's drawing from a 30-inch television. Did he tell you?
I knew it was big screen.
Yeah. What did you say, Tim? How big?
My head is larger
Oh,
than life.
70-inch.
Yes, like Luke's downstairs.
Giant one. All right, we need you to put your feet down. We need you to kind of... All right. So Tim, Beth adjusted. We're gonna need your direction as I'm looking on a phone. Okay. All right. Looks good. All right, guys, I've got Tim's. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hang up with Tim, and we're going to go live next 30 sessions. All right, thanks. Next 30 minutes. All right. As we are starting the second 30-minute sitting, we hope you guys are chilling out this Friday night. We have some music playing on in the background. There's going to be 2 more 30-minute sittings after we finish this one. Hopefully folks have got some lines down and are comfortable with those. Thank you, veteran artists, for your pointers, and thanks, Tim, and the group of artists for letting us encroach upon what you've been doing for quite some time. Cassie is... Cassie, it's small writing. Cassie is at work. She's sketching from her phone with a red marker pen. Please post that information. And Debbie says thanks for doing this, both Roger and Beth. Actually, thank you, Tim Herron and the portrait artist, for giving us the opportunity to sit with you guys for an evening. We're shut down, so we're going to stay creative. I see Chuck just jumped in. Chuck, we're doing some portrait drawing with portrait artists that meet Friday nights, but because we're shut down, we're going to do it digitally tonight. It's a complete experiment. Beth is sitting for the second 30-minute session. I see folks are jumping on. There's curiosity here. We're doing some portrait drawing. here for if you are a newer artist, that you're not feeling intimidated by drawing at the same time as some great portrait artists at the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists, and that you're finding it perhaps some inspiration by joining their event here remotely. If you are newer, thank you for joining. If you are a veteran who's been drawing for years, we thank you for allowing us to join. Just kind of put Beth in front of a phone and draw with you guys tonight. When we talked with Tim, when we interviewed a few weeks ago, he was saying that sometimes there's some great opportunity to draw negative space, and so some people are struggling for the correct shapes around maybe the shoulders or the shapes around Beth's neck. If you guys are kind of looking there on the right hand side, maybe drawing the negative shape is going to be a small trick. That's Tim's suggestion from our live interview a few weeks ago. Drawing the negative space would be, instead of drawing the shape of her neck, you might be drawing the shape of her hair, so you're drawing the opposite, and sometimes it helps you through finding some difficult lines. I'm going to check the timer here, guys, real quick. Got 11 minutes for this second sitting. 11 minutes. We have a question. What color are her eyes? You're dark brown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dark brown.
Is the ring light on them too much?
It gives it a good highlight. Got a couple comments here. Suzanne is saying, yeah. Yeah, folks that are joining on, we have some nice comments coming. Thank you, Susan. Susan, her response is, this is so cool. Thank you, Roger and Tim and Beth. When we take a break here in a few minutes, we'll chat a little bit more as artists and as cheats for those folks that are joining. Looks like we've had a pretty good steady of people on here live. A couple people just curious, checking in and wondering what we're doing. You guys have heard our dog Bowie. You probably hear voices in the background as we're holed in here just like everybody else. All right, we're down to about 5 minutes. 5 minutes for the second sitting. Then we'll take a break and we'll chat a bit. I would imagine we have a lot of folks that are working in color. Got about 3 minutes for this sitting. We've got about a minute. All right, let's take a break.
That was a long 5 minutes.
That's artist time, not
Yeah.
model time.
I don't think so.
All right, you know what? That was great last break when a couple folks took photos, or At least we had one artist take a photo as to where she was drawing. Like, what are you doing now? Mm-hmm. Please send us something that shows us where you're at, what you're drawing. Are you looking at a small screen like I am? Are you looking at a large screen? Tim said 70-inch?
Yeah, 70-inch television. Is that bigger than ours? That's way bigger than
Yeah,
ours.
it's huge.
Oh, that's like the size my mom's was. Like, that's a wall.
70-inch?
Yeah.
You can do a wall mural for that size.
That's true. I can be like on the side of the Manly Pad building.
That Manly Pad is kind of cool.
Yep. It's true.
It's a...
I gotta get up.
both a gallery and... It's not a gallery. It's a
studio.
It's a studio. It says gallery on the outside, but it's not a gallery. It's a studio.
Yep.
I think at some point that Tim had that place open. So guys, hey, share your photos. That was a great idea. Do you remember which artist that was? Come offhand. Her first name. I apologize.
No.
But yeah, share those photos. Okay, I'll sit down. Maybe that's what we'll do this break.
What?
Share your photos. What are you doing now? And also, I think we've had a pretty good steady. I think people are tuning in and staying in. There's a couple people that are jumping in and out. If you're jumping in and out, this is the Tuesday at 7 Facebook group.
I think it was Nancy Lick that shared the photo.
Gotcha. Nancy, thank you for sharing that photo. This is the Tuesday at 7 group. We've been running for quite some time. We've joined the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists who've been running a lot longer than we have. They've been running for 14 years. There's a lot of artists there. Tim is the originator, I believe. But there's a lot of great artists. They've been doing portraits for 14 years, and at one portrait per year, one portrait per week. And for 14 years, that's a whole lot. You guys have heard Bowie. This is our 16-year-old poodle. He's old, but he's ours, and we're very much fond of this dog. And we've heard a lot of folks say, after a while, people start to look like their dogs, and I'm going to ask you if you think that's an accurate statement or not. We've had several folks that do look like their dogs, and I think maybe that's true here too. All right, we're shut in on a Friday night here. It's 2020 for those folks that are tuning in late and are going back and maybe using this as a draw session in later years. It's 2020. We're in Ohio, and they've shut down most of the restaurants and bars and a lot of businesses to try to contain this coronavirus. And so instead of canceling our plans, we decided to change our plans and just bring this digitally to you. Again, this is Tim and his group's event that Tuesday at 7. We're just kind of piggybacking on and giving that a spin. Thanks, Tim, for letting us jump in. We are on a break. Beth is my wife, and we are practicing social distancing. She is 6 feet from me as I draw, so you guys can feel free that we're not spreading coronavirus amongst ourselves. Beth is crunching on a couple potato chips here on a break. I hope you guys are having a good Friday night. Has anybody shared any photos? Maybe people are on their phones.
So, Anne, you can either upload share the photos in the comments on Tim's page on Tuesday at 7, the group. You can also Facebook message the photos to Tim, Herron, or Roger. And I believe that Tim had put his email address on here somewhere, and he would like to have an email of all of the artwork sent also. We have Judy's using her iPad. Susan is working in sepia.
You guys can hear Beth from. She's
we
looking
didn't
at
do
the laptop.
microphones. We probably should have done the microphones. Oh, it was Cassie saying.
Yeah. Thank you, folks, for joining us. We're in a break. We're halfway done with our sittings. So we had 2 30-minute sittings. We're going to have 2 30-minute sittings ahead of us. Beth finds herself volunteered for a lot of things that she may not have chosen on her own, but she gladly is sitting for us tonight. She's a great model. This is not the first time she's sat, but all right, my dog wants me to pick it back up. We're going to your nose. At any rate, we've got another.
Cassie sent a
Bring around.
photo.
Case of you don't have.
Cassie.
This is Cassie's work.
Yeah, she's at work, technically working in red pen. Fabulous. I love it. She says made with office supplies. I think that's amazing. I love it so much.
I hope you guys are finding kind of this period of being shut in as an opportunity to create. I think that unexpectedly I'm finding myself, I mean, I would not have drawn, but I've done so in the last couple days, practicing, just trying to loosening up for tonight. And also because I've got that extra time. Hope you guys are doing the same. I hope you and your families are well during this time too. I haven't been watching the clock, but we'll give maybe another 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll sit down.
So this is on. I just want to check the Tuesday at 7 page and see if there's some more comments there.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking on yours.
So I think sometimes there's different comments based upon where it's casting to.
So yeah, there's Susan Avere, Mary Therese, Pat Phillips have all posted photos.
You have some photos that we can show here?
Yeah, they're amazing, guys.
Yeah, so we're going to show some photos. Thank you for posting those. If you can't see it, Beth is going to bring her phone around, and we're going to kind of try to do just a patchwork.
Juan says he saw Didkin dance at the Lakewood Civic Auditorium.
Ooh. We haven't seen them. We've been listening to them since the 90s. Love them.
So here's Susan.
Oh, they're in Detroit, by the way.
Susan Avere. Beautiful.
This is her process. Thank you guys for sharing that. We're gonna. Beth is checking her phone, and because people are watching from different pages.
Phillips. Beautiful, gorgeous work. Pencil, colored pencil. Mary Therese. Wow.
Guys, thank you for sharing your gifts with us by
Judy.
letting us kind of see where your process is. If you are newer, we hope that this is a outlet for you, maybe inspiration behind getting into artwork and into portraiture, and we hope that you might have the courage to share some photos too. And if this is like your first or second time that you've ever drawn portraits, we encourage you to keep doing so, and we appreciate you doing that along with us here on Friday night. It's almost 9 o'clock. Let's get into our second sitting for 9.
Yep.
Guys, we're just in our house. We're in the front foyer. There was a blank wall here, and so we put up a light. We set up our camera here on the tripod, or our phone on the tripod, and we're just here. Our living room is over this way, and our dog, of course, likes to be held. He's a lap dog. A spoiled lap dog. Yeah, he's an old man, so we hold him as much as we can. And I hope you guys are doing well. All right, let's kind of finish up here, and we'll start the third sitting. We're about halfway done. I hope you guys are finding some inspiration behind tonight's really social experiment, artistic experiment here. We'll see how it works, and we'll see if folks are finding it useful. Because this is live now, it'll be available to look at as a recording afterwards. So if you're like, oh, I'd like to get to that, or I only signed in for the second or the last 30 minutes or the second 2 sittings, you'll be able to get back in and do some work as well. But I think that's it. We'll get Beth sitting back down here. I'm going to call, can you call Tim up? I think this should be a little bit. She's putting her feet in
positions. I don't want to rearrange my hair too much.
Yeah, because we're working on your hair now. I think a lot of folks, at least I am. We're going to call Tim up. We're going to make sure we're...
Hang on, let me get a drink. There might be something in my Diet Coke.
Sipping out of a small straw there.
Those straws are antiques.
All right, we're getting Beth sitting for this third session. Yeah, it's fun, huh? I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll have to figure out what next week looks like. But hey, Tim, I'm gonna put this up next to the phone. There's and are you up to saying a few things to the people who are watching? All right. So bring the camera down just a bit. Yes. Yeah. Hold on. Oh, I hope I didn't turn that. Is that better? Tim? A little farther? All right, hold on. We have a delay here, so... Well, hold on a bit, Tim, because we had the delay, and Beth sits up pretty well. Yeah. Okay. That looks pretty good. Sounds good. Okay. Yes. Yep. Sounds good. Sounds good. Hey, Tim, what is your address again? Wait, let me. At sbcglobal.net. And that's the Manly Pad.
Best name ever.
The Manly Pad at sbcglobal.net. Yeah, type it in the comments if you would. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Beth, you ready? The right amount. I think that what we're doing is I think the artists are working down a bit. So.
Oh, that makes sense. Nothing makes your nose itch other than not being able to do it. Okay.
All right. lower your head down just a hair. I think it's chin down. Yep. Tim, we saw your comment. You'll see that going down. Yeah, he'd say good, thank you, that's perfect. Sean, I know that you guys have joined in. We're doing a live portraiture event. We just kind of piggybacked on the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artist. They're not pretentious, but somebody, I think at one point when they began, so in jest made a comment that the people in Tremont, Ohio are pretentious, so they just kind of wore it as a badge. And since we've been going live here for quite some time, we were hoping to just kind of combine our communities into a portrait drawing event this evening. And we thank you guys for joining us. We're kind of quiet right now, or at least I'm kind of quiet because I'm trying to draw. I know there's some folks using colored pencils, some using paint. I know some folks are drawing from laptops. Tim's drawing from a 70-inch television with another artist. It's incredible how technology allows us to do some things and we create a kind of thrive even when we're forced to stay inside on a Friday night or for several weeks for that matter. Beth, that highlighting in your hair is just perfect.
Good.
Allows us to draw the shape of your...
You paid good money for it.
Yeah. All right, folks, we're about halfway through this third sitting. If you're working on a single piece, you're probably getting into some detail now. We've got some comments coming in here. There's a few different Facebook pages that are casting out, and so there's comments and pictures being out there on different pages. There's if you're in Tim Herron's page, if you're in Roger Miller's page, if you're on the Tuesday at 7 page or the Miller Art Exchange page, if you're on a different page, you're seeing some different things. Those who are joining, we're sitting, this is my beautiful wife, Beth Miller. She got roped into sitting for us this Friday night. We are combining the Tuesday at 7 creative live streams. Of course, we obviously, as the name suggests, we have been interviewing and doing some demos Tuesday evenings at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we've joined forces with the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists. They're not pretentious, but that's the name that they've gone by for 14 years as they've been drawing and painting and doing portraits in all kinds of different medium. They allowed us to kind of join forces here and go live and see what a digital portrait session would be like. I think it's working. And thank you guys for joining, and thank you guys for sharing. As you guys, I'm sure, have noticed, just like I am, the hair is laying slightly different. Actually, I kind of like the way it's laying now, better than the other sittings. So I'm just making some minor adjustments myself. My high school art teacher used to tell me, anime class, lighter lights and darker darks. Lighter lights and darker darks. And so that's what I'm currently working on. You guys can't see my work yet. I'm not a portrait artist like the veterans that we have here, but I'm giving a shot at trying to get some drawing down here of Beth here on this Friday night. Way out of practice, but I'm giving it a shot anyways. All right, we've got about 9 minutes. We have, as I'm looking just from this is just from my Facebook page, I'm not in one of the groups. Looks like we have a lot of folks here live. We've got folks who are jumping in and jumping out. If you're one of those folks and it's just kind of curiosity, we're just doing some portrait drawing here on a Friday night. For those artists that have been with us the whole time, you're like, why is he so redundant in his comments? I'm doing two things, drawing and watching the screen at the same time, and notice that we've got people jumping in and out, so kind of trying to fill them in as well. I've done about 5 minutes for this third sitting. 5 minutes. We'll take another break. I'm sure for Beth this has been a long time, but for us artists, we're sitting here, and if the time is flying. Good. Gone at 2 minutes. 2 minutes. One minute. 1 minute. All right. Third sitting over. Thank you guys for joining us. When I mean us, I mean Beth and I and Tim Herron. He is remote, but he is the originator 14 years ago. That's amazing. And I think if you do the math, 50 times 10 is 500. 50 times another.
Every Friday night.
Every Friday
at
night.
7:30, gathering however many people can make it to that. I mean, that's a lot of portraits.
A lot of
drawn.
portraits. Those guys have been, yeah, I mean, if you just do the math, 50 times 14, 50,
I don't
do the math.
do that.
All right, let me do it. 50, let's say 50 times a year. 50 times 10 years is 500 times another 4, right? 500, 600, 700 portrait sittings. So they've been doing it for a whole lot of time. Jane, I just see her comment here because it says, thanks for making Friday seem almost normal. I would imagine there's a bunch of folks. Oh, you know what I need to do? I'm going to run downstairs real quick while you wait.
Okay.
Sip on your adult beverage.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's very, I bet I know what he's doing. So if any of you who are regular Cleveland Pretentious portrait artist group can say something, just mention that you're a regular member of that group so that the people who are joining from our page from Tuesday at 7 or the Miller Art Exchange, everybody can kind of get to know each other. Again, the Tuesday at 7 is an opportunity for creatives, not just artists, but musicians and others, to get to know each other and kind of expand contact within the Northeast Ohio area for creatives. Oh yes.
So this is, can you hold that backward? Yeah. So this was the artwork that Tim did that we gave away. We're trying to get it to Suzette Coe, and her name was drawn. I think she draws on Friday nights. So I sent her a message, but haven't gotten through to her. But Suzette, we want to make sure that we can get you this original artwork that you won from Tuesday at 7 a week or so ago. Oh, this past week, if you guys are into special effects or movie making, we had Emmy award-winning Alan Tuskus as our interviewee. He is down in the Lakewood area, but he moved back to Cleveland after being in LA for a number of years. Incredible special effects makeup artist. But if you go back and you share that before this coming Tuesday, you have the chance of winning
2 prizes.
Two different giveaways. Yeah, we have a Robert Kurtzman Pache airbrush. Yep. Not compressor, airbrush, but it's a very limited. I don't even know if they're really still around, but he had an extra one.
The whole set.
The whole set.
Yep.
And then he's also giving us a Stan Winston T-shirt from their effects team, and those are very limited too. So.
And for people who are new to the Tuesday at 7, Roger does these interviews, obviously Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. You can go to either his Facebook page, you can join the Tuesday at 7 group, and so if you want to look back on past videos, you can access them that way. They're also uploaded to YouTube, and it's TUES @7, and so you can access that through the group on Facebook, through Roger's page on Facebook, my page on Facebook, or Tuesday at 7 group.
Yeah, and you can see the interview with Tim Herron.
Yep, absolutely.
Out there on YouTube or on Facebook.
Yep, and that should have been shared to Tim's Facebook page too. So if you go back to Tim Herron's Facebook page, you'll be able to see his interview that we did about 3 weeks ago. Feels longer than that with everything going on, but I think it was only 3 weeks ago. I'm so itchy.
That's because you can't move. Itch now. Because we're going to do our 4th and final.
Yep. I'm so excited to see what everybody's doing. All the different paint or pencil or office supplies like Cassie, chalk, pastels. Any 3D artists out there? Anybody doing sculpting? I know Roger had been hoping that someone would do something like that. Is there anybody doing digital art on an iPad or a bamboo tablet or anything like that? That would be kind of interesting to see. I know we have some friends who do digital art a lot.
You need us to stand up, move around. We still have some time.
I'm mostly just drinking my beverage from my vintage antique straw. So some years ago when my grandmother died and we were cleaning out her apartment, we found a box of paper straws. Obviously they're really long, so probably meant to fit in a pop bottle. And I kept the box because the artwork so distinctly looked like it had to be from like 1963 or something. But I couldn't just throw the straws away, so I've been using them. So that's why my kind of dilapidated little paper straw, because I just had to use it. It probably wasn't meant to be used with bourbon.
But it's working, right?
It was, but now it's all bent out and it's not.
All right, we're gonna still take another 5-minute break, guys, or so. We hope that you guys can get up and stretch your legs. I don't know, what do you guys do on breaks?
Is it always 4 sessions with a break
I
like that?
think so. I think the way that Tim does it live, which this is the first time that we're kind of joining forces, but when he does it live, Tim, I think that you do a 45-minute sitting and then a bunch of 30-minute sittings following, or 3 sittings after following.
That makes sense. I'll be back.
All right. I hope that you guys are... I'll sit down here for a moment while Beth is taking a break. Hope you guys are doing well. Continue to post photos because we'd like to see those in process. And then, as Tim had mentioned, if you could message Tim Herron on Facebook or the Manly Pad, or you could email it to the Manly Pad at sbcglobal.net. The Manly Pad at sbcglobal.net. And then what he'll do is he's going to go ahead and upload these onto his website and on a Facebook sometime tomorrow. So if you guys would go ahead and send that off to him, that would be awesome. And I know there's a bunch of folks that this thing is streaming live out to a number of different websites. And so if you're making some comments and we're not responding to those, it's probably because we're not attending to that website right now. We're going to go back and take a look at those and comment on those afterward as well. I know that Beth is. I think it's on the table. See up there by the pencil sharpener? Yeah. For those who the portrait artists, if you guys want to join Tues 87, there's a Facebook group. But some of the artists, obviously Tim Herron is one of the artists that we interviewed. That's the reason why we combined and figured that we'd throw this together here last minute. But we've interviewed a number of folks. We've interviewed Ted Sikora. He's an illustrator, comic book writer. He's done Apama. He's done some film directing. He also does Tap Dance Killer. We've interviewed Neil Zaza. He's a melodic guitarist, travels all over the world. He's been around for a long time, does some phenomenal guitar performance, and been doing a lot of great stuff this past year. He even did kind of a mashup between kind of classic ballet and hard rock, and it's been awesome. Interviewed David Greathouse, special effects makeup artist. We've interviewed, as we talked about, Alan Tuskus. I know I'm sitting here. Oh, Richard Thomas.
Yep, from Mushroom Head.
From Mushroom Head, a lot of viewers. Brandon Kimber, who is a director, a documentary maker. We interviewed him as well. And Deb Sherrill, who's a paints pourer. Jerry Schmidt, who is a metal sculptor. I'm going by mine here. We've interviewed so many great folks.
Jim Cermak,
podcaster. These are all kind of Northeast Ohio folks. Judy Keene, who is a glass artist. I am, and I don't want to say that I'm even forgetting. You have some photos there?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get out of here.
Nancy Lick has been working in watercolor. Incredible. That's just beautiful. I love the shades that you chose. Looks like Olga Weinstein. Probably also in watercolor. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. Janet, she's working, it looks like, on an iPad, which is absolutely fascinating. I'd love to try that sometime. Let's see. I think I showed the others. These are posted on, it looks like, on the Tuesday at 7 group. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, here's another. This is an iPad drawing also, which I totally, if I looked at it, would have thought it was watercolor. That's gorgeous and really cool. Thank you. Grace, who I think also was Lebanon Bowie, says, don't be deceived. There is beer in the teacup, and I'm going to have to remember, because I have lots of beautiful teacups, that's a great idea for what to drink my bourbon out of. Let's see.
All right, Beth, we're going to probably have you sit down, and we'll call Tim.
Yep.
There's some folks that had to sign off, but fortunately, because this is recorded and you'll be able to watch this afterward, that you'll be able to sign back in. Beth's got her feet straight. Last sip, then it's going to be head down for the last 30 minutes. We're going to call Tim here. Tim is the originator here.
Herron?
Tim Herron. Herron. And we're going to give him a call here, make sure that we've got this set up. He's got the eyeball for this, along with his folks.
And his 70-inch television. Or somebody's.
All right, I have Beth sitting down. All right, thanks, Tim. Perfect, sounds good. We're gonna heads down here for our last 30 minutes. I'm gonna go set the alarm. All right, bye. Are you still streaming? Yeah. All right, as we are finishing our last 30 minutes, I'm sure that folks are working on fine details. You probably might be working into Some of the shadows, the background, the shirt, the necklace, maybe the highlights on the eyes. All right. We've got a lot of folks that are saying thank you so much for the evening. Hope to join you again soon. And Judy's saying thank you for making the Friday night wonderful. Thank you guys for joining. Truthfully, if you guys weren't joining in, we probably wouldn't be doing this anyways. All right, I'm gonna shut my mouth here and do some drawing. Forgive poodle sounds in the background. last sitting here for those that have been with us most of the evening, or for at least the last couple hours. We've done about 15 minutes. Those who are watching this recorded can stop it and rewatch it, and stop it and rewatch it if they'd like. There's some folks that are watching it on a laptop. We know that there's some folks that are watching it on a 70-inch television as well. Something you couldn't do live, but we're making do. Thank you, Tim, Herron. Thank you, veteran portrait artist, for allowing our Tuesday at 7 creative group to kind of jump in with you guys for an evening and give this a whirl. We're inspired by what you do. We're inspired by the fact you've been doing it for 14 years. You guys are pretty amazing. And to allow a bunch of newbies in is cool. Again, I know you're probably focusing in on your portrait, but as you're doing so, please post the photo over and send a copy over to Tim Herron so that he could post it on his Facebook as well as the Pretentious Cleveland Portrait Artist website. I had said before, Tim Herron, Herron. You'll probably, if you check him out on Facebook, you'll probably find out that he's connected to a bunch of us. Or you can email it to him at themanlypad, P-A-D, at sbcglobal.net. Themanlypad at sbcglobal.net. And the reason why we want to send it to him, just so we're inspired by the work that you're doing, but that we can document the fact that you were part of this event here in 2020 at the very beginning, not the very beginning, but near the beginning of kind of lockdown here due to the coronavirus, and that's why we're here and not in person. My wife Beth was kind to sit for us. Without much notice. If you follow us on Tuesday at 7, we face casted her, we put bald caps on her, she's been painted, and now she's a portrait model for us as well. If you guys have heard a bunch of noise here in the background, you may actually hear the sketching that I'm doing here. You may have heard our family and our dog making noise in the background. We apologize for that, but we are thankful that you guys joined us nonetheless. After we press the end button this evening, again, we encourage you guys to go ahead and send your portraiture over to Tim. But after just a bit of time, this thing will just be listed out there in the library, and so you'll be able to see that on Tim's, on my, or on the Tuesday at 7 feeds as well. In the next handful of days, we'll also upload this to YouTube, so that you could watch it again, maybe work on your project, or if you get bored midweek, you have the ability to go back in and give it another whirl. Tues, the @7. Tues @7 would be the best way to search it on Facebook. in the search bar, or the same TUES at 7 would be the good place to search it, and find it on YouTube as well. We'll upload it in a few days here.
Are you working with Sharpie now?
I'm sorry?
Are you on Sharpie now?
I've had Sharpie, I have pencil. I'm doing all kinds of mixed craziness here.
You can hear the Sharpie.
As I said, I actually had a great high school education, and my art teacher, Diane Ballas, does sign in on occasion. But I remember very clearly and fondly the darker darks and lighter lights, and so there's no better way to get dark than a black Sharpie. Those of you who know my style, and I work in all kinds of mediums, I know I often use my model as inspiration, and then I deviate from the model, try to establish my style and kind of go from there. And that's certainly what I did here with my portraiture of Beth, which you'll see tomorrow with Tim on Tim Herron's page. All right, we're down to our final 8 minutes. Final 8 minutes. writes, I can't draw, but Beth, you are beautiful.
Oh, yes, you can.
I do agree.
She could draw.
She can. I happen to think drawing is a learned skill. And so for those who use negative shapes, who may use the idea of darker darks and lighter lights, who use our eraser at the end or as a tool, kind of find their style, then perhaps this is your first night to maybe the beginning of a creative life. We certainly hope that's the case. I think we're coming down to final touches, folks. Two minutes. 2 minutes. you know who? You don't need to turn your eyes towards me. You know who else we interviewed? Joe Bergner.
Yeah.
We also interviewed the Mummy and the Monkey, and I'm going to be tuning into the Mummy and the Monkey as soon as we sign off here. They're Friday evening horror show hosts. They've taken over for Goulardi, the Ghoul, Big Chuck and Houlihan, Big Chuck Little John, super host, God rest his soul, and they're on here on Friday night. So as I sign off, I'm gonna move over to the Mummy and the Monkey. They're also Cleveland creatives as well, part of the Tuesday at 7 family. We've interviewed them, and we've interviewed a ton of fabulous folks. This coming Tuesday, unless things change, I think we're supposed to interview Mike Grau. He's a glass blower. He's here close. We're going to practice some social distancing at that interview and bring that to you as well. And as we're coming down to the final seconds here, Beth, you're good? So, thank you, folks. I'm going to let Beth sit there because she's beautiful, and I'm not. I'm just hairy and gray. Thank you, folks, for joining us tonight. A special thank you to Tim Herron.
Yes.
To the Pretentious Cleveland portrait artists. They've been gathering for 14 years, doing portraits for Friday nights. They weren't going to let a little bit of coronavirus slow them down, and so this was a little experiment. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You'll be able to watch it. It's going to be recorded, and you'll be able to get back there if you want to do any finishing touches. And if you're like, yeah, that last sitting was slightly different than sitting 2 or 1, you can go back there and get back to the exact positions before by just going and hitting stop. I think that's it. And for those who want to join the Tuesday at 7 Facebook group, just go there. We approve all members. We do a lot of cool stuff. We interview a whole bunch of fabulous people. And again, thank you, Tim, an artist, for letting us jump in.
And thank you to everybody from the Tuesday at 7 followers. We really appreciate your enthusiasm and your support and sharing all of this. Don't forget to share the interview from Tuesday for Al Tuscus for those 2 absolutely amazing prizes. And we really hope that you and your families and everyone that you care about are doing okay during this really interesting and trying time, and that we all have the opportunity to continue to create and to help each other and just turn fabulous things out of this experience that none of us could have expected. So have a great rest of Friday night. Check out Mummy and the Monkey.
Mummy and the Monkey. God bless you guys. We'll connect with you here soon. Oh,
what?
Last thing. Make sure you share your finished artwork over to Tim Herron's Facebook page via Messenger. I guess you can post it here as well. And then the Manly Pad at sbcglobal.net. If you can email it there, if that's easier for you as well.
Yep.
Guys, have a great evening. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.